Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more Los Angeles Lakers news, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Which big center will be signed by the Lakers? Below we describe 3 good center options that would fit very well in the Lakers, without having to give up Austin Reeves. The Lakers have the option to sign 3 big centers. Players like Dallas' Daniel Gafford or Brooklyn's Nick Claxton would have to be acquired through trades, while unrestricted free agent Clint Capella could be a candidate for the taxpayer mid-level exception. It's no secret what the Lakers' biggest need is this offseason. They're on the hunt to fortify their big man room. General Manager Rob Pelinka has spoken of the team's big man need for months since sending Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks in the trade that brought Luka Doncic to Los Angeles, including as recently as the day after the Lakers' season ended. We know this offseason, one of our primary goals is going to be to add size in our frontcourt at the center position, Pelinka said during his joint end-of-season media availability with coach J.J. Redick on May 1st. That's going to be part of the equation. We know we have a lot of work to do on the roster, and it will look different next year, for sure. Pelinka also addressed the type of center they'll be looking for. In terms of center traits, it would be great to have a center that was a vertical threat, lob threat, and someone that could protect the interior defensively, he added. Those would be key. But there's multiple different types of centers that can be very effective in the league. There's also spread centers that can protect the rim. We'll look at those as well. I wouldn't want to limit the archetype, but we know we need a big man. With Jackson Hayes, who finished 2024-25 as the Lakers' starting center, slated for unrestricted free agency and the team not having a center under contract for 2025-26 entering the offseason, the Lakers could use multiple big men. The shocking acquisition of Doncic is the latest example that no NBA trade is impossible, but it's unlikely the Lakers will be able to add an all-star level big man this offseason. But who would be realistic targets? Here are a few potential players to keep an eye on. 1. Daniel Gafford, Dallas, trade. The 2 names that get brought up the most when discussing big men targets for the Lakers this summer are Dallas' Daniel Gafford and Brooklyn's Nick Claxton. And the Gafford connection is easy to see. Doncic and Gafford were teammates in Dallas for about a year, instantly establishing chemistry during the Mavericks' run to the 2024 NBA Finals. Gafford averaged 11.2 points, 78% shooting, 6.9 rebounds and 1.9 blocked shots in 29 regular season games, 21.5 minutes, with Dallas last season. He averaged 12 points, 72.6% shooting, 6.1 rebounds and 1.2 blocked shots in 29 games, 20.2 minutes, with the Mavericks this season before Doncic played his last game with Dallas on December 25. The 6'10", 265-pound Gafford is entering the final season of a 3-year, $40 million contract that will pay him about $14.4 million in 2025-26. Gafford, 26, reportedly wants to get paid like a starting center, a report he refuted. But with Dallas also having Davis and Derek Lively, who will become eligible for a contract extension next summer, already on the roster, it's unlikely that the Mavericks would be able, or willing, to pay 3 big men significant salaries. Gafford's salary for next season would make it easier for the Lakers to acquire him in a trade without having to give up a starter. But there are also questions about whether the Mavericks would be willing to make another trade with the Lakers in light of the aftermath of the Doncic trade with their fan base. And the Lakers would need assurances that Gafford would stay with the franchise beyond the 2025-26 season if they traded for him. Nick Claxton, Brooklyn, trade. Claxton is arguably the best center the Lakers could add to their roster during the offseason. He has averaged 11.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, 2.1 assists and a pair of blocked shots over the last 3 seasons as the Nets' full-time starting center. The 6'11", 215-pounder is one of the league's best rim protectors and can switch out and guard on the perimeter. He's also an elite finisher at the rim and a good screener, making him an ideal pairing for the Lakers' ball handlers. Claxton, 26, has a $25.4 million salary for 2025 to 26 as part of the four-year, $97 million contract that started this past season, meaning the Lakers would have to send out more high-salaried players in a trade for Claxton compared to Gafford. Claxton signed a descending contract, meaning he'll take up less cap space annually over the course of his deal. Clint Capella, unrestricted free agent. Capella, 31, has declined as a player over the last couple of seasons. His 2024-25 averages of 8.9 points, 8.5 rebounds, a blocked shot and 21.4 minutes were his lowest mark since early in his career. Onyeka Okongwu took over the Atlanta Hawks starting center spot from Capella in late January before Capella missed the final month of the season because of a ligament injury in his left hand. But Capella is still a reliable defender, especially near the rim, and he could be a low-minute starter or high-minute reserve. He's not a good long-term starting center solution, but he could be a good candidate for the $5.7 million taxpayer mid-level exception the Lakers will have at their disposal. Shannon Sharpe urges Lakers to trade Austin Reaves to contend for title. Shannon Sharpe acknowledged how valuable Austin Reaves is to the Lakers. However, he also added that this was exactly why the team needed to trade him to win. Los Angeles Lakers guard Austin Reaves has garnered a lot of attention in the trade market owing to his potential departure in the offseason. While addressing this, Shannon Sharpe acknowledged how the Lakers would need to trade the guard to contend for the title on a recent episode of Nightcap. He said, "The Lakers can only pay him so much. You're gonna go somewhere and get a big payday anyway. You ain't trying to stay with the Lakers when you get $200 million, and they can't give you that." Sharpe acknowledged the potential contract demands the guard could have next summer, should he decide to opt out of his contract. But Sharpe was not disrespecting Reaves as a player in any capacity, as he added, "Yeah, he has improved every single year, he's a hell of a player." However, the 56-year-old had a very clear approach to the situation. He expressed this when he said, "But those three guys are not gonna win anything. Now, I'm not saying you gotta package him, but they need a traditional big. He's the only valuable piece that they have." Sharpe addressed and acknowledged a rather pressing concern among the Lakers fan base. While fans have been supportive of Reaves' development and have formed a bond with the 27-year-old as he has risen through the ranks, it has become apparent that the purple and gold may need to trade him. The next season will be the third in Reaves' four-year, $53.8 million deal with the team. Considering that he is making roughly $14 million next season, it is apparent that he is being grossly underpaid for his actual value. Reaves has delivered above and beyond his pay grade. With an average of 20.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game, the guard has looked like the Lakers' third star on more than one occasion. However, the Lakers simply may not have the cap space to absorb the 27-year-old if he decides to test free agency. With a potential demand of $30 million a year, the purple and gold will immediately face a situation where they may have to let him walk while getting nothing in return. Thus, the organization finds itself in a bit of a bind. Given his current value in the market, Reaves could help facilitate a lot of major trades for the Lakers. With special consideration for the team's need for a big man, any trade package involving the guard would allow the purple and gold to acquire a quality center to help their cause. While there have been no genuine developments on the matter, Reaves' agent has suggested that there are unexpected things in store. With considerations being made for LeBron James potentially opting in for next season, the Lakers will look to create a roster to compete for a title right away. LeBron James, Luka Doncic give Lakers their own unique two-timeline issue. The Lakers juggle LeBron James' twilight and Luka Doncic's rise, walking a two-timeline tightrope that could define their future. There are few two-word phrases NBA fans should be more afraid of than two timelines. So long as any other team is focused on maximizing their singular timelines, those teams splitting their attention are going to fall behind in their goals. Between the end of the LeBron James era and the beginning of Luka Doncic's, the Los Angeles Lakers find themselves in a truly unique version of this situation that most teams would happily take on, but their attention is split nonetheless. Rob Pelinka will have to find a way to juggle what might be James' last season in the NBA with all the grace he deserves given everything he's done for the franchise and the sport, with ensuring Doncic likes what he sees well enough to stick around long term. It certainly helps both players are very productive right now, unlike most two-timeline situations, but as we saw this postseason, neither player looked fully comfortable, something that has to change if the Lakers want any chance at a more production trip to the playoffs next year. From a strictly basketball perspective, James and Doncic should work quite well, if they're on the same page. They're two of the smartest players the league has ever seen and are capable of engineering offense for themselves or their teammates unlike almost anyone in the history of the sport. There are certainly questions defensively because of athletic limitations on both James' age and Doncic, well, but it has to be able to look better than it did in the playoffs, or else the Lakers will have to expend assets to get more athletic. Now, how much capital the Lakers should expend to more effectively tailor the roster for James and Doncic's strengths and weakness is very much worth debating, and the Lakers are having such discussions daily. Should the Lakers make Rui Hachimura available even though he'll be the team's best athlete next season, let alone after James is gone? Should the Lakers trade Austin Reeves for a more athletic point-of-attack defender given James' impending retirement? Essentially, how do the Lakers plan for the post-James era while James is still playing at an All-NBA level? There are no simple answers to these questions. Thing is, one way or another, James is eventually going to cease being a Laker. When? Who knows, but whether it's after this season, the next or the one after that, the Lakers are much closer to the end of the James era than the beginning. Whenever that happens, the Lakers will lose a very good player for nothing beyond some financial flexibility they'll have to get creative to fully utilize. Now, to be absolutely clear, this isn't meant to sound ungrateful because James lifted the Lakers from its lowest point and brought a championship to LA in one of the most challenging seasons in NBA history. Normally, the Lakers would be in asset acquisition mode with the focus of allowing James to go on a well-earned retirement tour, taking as many shots and soaking in as many moments as he pleases. With Doncic on the team, though, they can't. Another factor in all this that takes the situation from champagne problem to existential crisis is the extension the Lakers will be desperately hoping Doncic signs this summer. If everything laid out above doesn't seem complicated enough, adding to it the news cycle of a Doncic potentially on the verge of free agency would be akin to trying to put out a fire on the stove with jet fuel. Usually, when a team lands a player like Doncic, it's on the tail end of a rebuild with assets to build the roster he needs. In this case, the Lakers were riding out the remainder of the James Anthony Davis era when Nico Harrison and Pelinka met in that infamous coffee shop. Time simply is not a luxury they have. Historically, the Lakers have treated their stars better than any other franchise in the sport. It's part of why so many stars have found their way to Los Angeles all these years. They owe it to James to continue that trend, but this time is very different, as they owe it to Doncic to give him every opportunity they can to compete for championships. Dual timelines are almost always a high wire even the smartest organizations topple from. The unique nature of this specific situation only means the Lakers would fall from a greater height. Former Lakers star calls out Anthony Edwards on Thursday. The Minnesota Timberwolves' playoff journey concluded with a decisive 124-94 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, marking their second straight exit at this stage. Despite notable victories over the Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors earlier in the postseason, the Timberwolves were unable to overcome the Thunder, who limited Anthony Edwards to 23 points per game on 47.1% shooting and 28.1% from beyond the arc. Following the loss, Edwards acknowledged his struggles and expressed optimism about the team's future, also emphasizing his youth and the experience gained from reaching the conference finals twice by age 23. However, former Los Angeles Lakers guard Lou Williams, who played 17 seasons in the NBA, took issue with Edwards' comments. Williams highlighted the rarity of deep playoff runs, noting that in his career, he reached the conference finals only once. He cautioned that the Western Conference is becoming increasingly competitive, with stars like Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama poised to make significant impacts in the years to come. "I love the attitude, but Ant just slightly missed the mark," the former Sixth Man of the Year winner said. "I've been to the Eastern Conference Finals once in 17 years. That is something you don't want to take for granted. Those opportunities come few and in between. Austin Reaves might be the favorite to go. Austin Reaves might be the player to make way for new additions to the Lakers. He is entering the final year of his contract, and Reaves can only earn $89 million if he re-signs with the Lakers. This is far less than he could make if he signed with another team. However, the Lakers are not ready to trade him away unless they find a star-level center in the trade market. However, the Lakers are aware that they will have to move Reaves to improve the team. Although this news has seemingly impacted Reaves negatively, as it has upset him quite a bit. Reaves' agent recently took a shot at the Lakers, seemingly threatening the franchise about the ramifications of potentially trading him.